Hi, this is David again, and like I've said on other videos, I don't look for these things. I'm just a normal person. I just watch TV, maybe read a little newspaper, I go on the computer, and I don't look up on the computer what have the LDS done that I can report. I just look at the newscast and, oh gosh, here we go. I guess if you're a bishop in the Mormon church, you're just always involved in sex. Here we go. This now is reported by one of the two major papers here in Salt Lake City, and I'm going to read you the headline here. It says, LDS bishop will stand trial for failure to report abuse charges. Now, they just can't learn. The Mormons really think they're above the law. They really think that Jesus and God will protect them, and they're obeying God's law. That's why I'm scared of them. If the prophet says they should kill you, they will. There's no doubt in my mind they will follow the prophet. So here's a bishop. He's interviewing these young girls and young boys and asking them if they masturbate. They're 12 years old. Half the kids go, I don't know, what's that? And, these guys just have no damn judgment. None at all. They get into this position as a bishop. They think they're in authority. The church tells them they're the head of the priesthood authority in that ward, and oh my God, they blow smoke up their ass until these guys have no judgment at all. This is in Duchesne. A judge has ordered an LDS church bishop to stand trial on charges of witness tampering and failure to report abuse. I didn't even see the witness tampering the first time. So he's trying to manipulate the Mormons and the people in the community to go, hey, go on vacation. There's no witnesses, I guess. So the prosecutor, I'm just going to summarize because I know, you can read this for yourself. His attorney, from our perspective, the bind over was something we expected because the burden of proof is so low. Moon is 43 years old and failing to notify the police about a 17-year-old girl's disclosure that she had been sexually abused by a teenage relative. Well, these mandated reporting laws, the Mormon church just doesn't think they're going to have to report, that their people are pretty normal, probably a little extreme, unflexible, and I've been a mandated reporter my whole life. And basically, mandated reporting means if you've heard or someone has said, even if there's no proof, you need to refer that and then let the state social workers determine whether it was a hoax or truth or whatever. Well, these bishops are the judge in Israel. So the Mormon church, they just brainwash these guys. The bishop also told the girl not to seek a protective order against a teenage boy and the boy's mother when the girl came to him for counsel, according to the Duchesne County prosecutors. Like I said, these Mormon bishops have no training, no clerical training. They could be truck drivers, they could be bricklayers, they could be landscape artists, roofers, truck drivers, and then they're put into this counseling position of dealing with, teenagers and geriatrics and marriage counseling, etc. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So when you tell a person not to obtain a restraining order, you got your nose way out like Pinocchio, and someone's going to cut that off. You can't tell people don't get a restraining order. That's up to the person who thinks they need one for their safety, and the judge to determine, their safety is in jeopardy. Then they serve the other person. Well, you serve them first, I guess, and then the judge decides you got to be 500 feet away or whatever. So this guy, he just does one idiot thing after another. Okay, Moon appeared in the 8th District Court in December 22nd last year at a preliminary hearing. The judge, Anderson, wrote a 9-page order that the duty at this point in the case was not to determine whether Moon violated the law, but to decide whether there was probable cause to believe he committed the offense. Well, obviously, it's like a Mack truck running over you. There obviously isn't probable cause. The court finds that there is probable cause. Oh, I'm surprised. The girl says, hey, I've been sexually molested. She tells the bishop. The mother shows up and says she's been sexually molested. Oh, I'm surprised there's probable cause. oh my gosh. The father, a member of Moon's congregation, told the investigators he asked Moon to meet with his daughter in his ecclesiastical role. In other words, the father says, I think there's something wrong with my girl. Would you talk to her? Because she had disclosed an incident of sexual abuse. Court records state the disclosure was causing conflict between family members and the man that told investigators. Well, rather than the father taking responsibility, they push it off to the bishop. They think the bishop, when he's not driving truck, is a counseling genius and an attorney. He also pointed out that his client was at least the sixth person to know about the abuse before police were contacted, but is the only person charged with a crime. Well, if you're a school teacher, you're a counselor, you're a school bus driver, if you are in a unique position, teacher, to be around children, you're a mandated reporter. You are a mandated reporter. Now, if you're just the general public and some kid comes up to you and says, my father's molesting me, good judgment would be to call the police and go, I don't know if the kid is crazy or not, but get that off of your responsibility. But man, if you're a teacher or a counselor, and you'll find when you go to counseling, most counselors will warn you that you're allowed to say anything you want, but if you disclose something that has been criminal or illegal or inappropriate sexual activity, they have no choice. They have to report it to the state social work department. Well, the other thing I was going to say too, these bishops, good Lord, the Mormon church is doing the best they can to stop the lunacy of this the non-clergy, non-clergy, trained clergy, or educated clergy. They have a phone number that goes right into the legal department. I know that legal department. I've dealt with them. There's some sharp characters in there, and they're right downtown there in Salt Lake City. That bishop should have picked that damn phone up after that little girl left the office, called an attorney and say, what the hell am I supposed to do? And he wouldn't be in jail, and he wouldn't be up now on charges of manipulating, witness tampering, and not reporting abuse. The attorney, God, I only went to law school 1 year. I would have said, shit, call the police right now and make sure you get a report and get a copy of that report, that you have a time on it, and that you reported this, or you're going to be in big trouble. Well, the bishop, oh God, the Lord's going to protect me. Jesus is going to tell me what to do. Well, Jesus told him to go to jail, I guess. During the interview with the sheriff's investigator, the girl said that she told the bishop she wanted to obtain a protective order against her abuser and his mother so she wouldn't be terrorized. That's reasonable. I've dealt with teenage girls that have been abused, or younger kids that have been abused, and they aren't terrorized. That's not an unusual request, and the judge will probably give that restraining order. Now here, this is so typical of the Mormon spin. And then he said that I need to think about, this is the bishop's counselor to the girl who was raped. And then he said, the bishop, that I need to think about what the boy is going through. And I don't need to start telling the cops or anything, because he's already going to have to go through a bunch of repentance and all that stuff, the girl told the investigator. So the Mormon church does not obey the law of the land. Their lips say they do. Their behavior for 200 years, I'm exaggerating, 25 years or so, has been that they have their own rules, they have their own judges, they have their own courts and their own juries, and the hell with the world. Well, the world, and the Mormons keep saying, the world is persecuting us. No, the world is not persecuting the Mormons. The Mormons don't obey the law, and they take it as religious persecution. So this poor young gal, this bishop just tore her up. The boy has to deal with this for the rest of his life. I guess what he's dealing with is a great big, huge smile on his face that he nailed somebody under 18. I guess that's, he'll need to go to the dentist to get his lips fixed from the big smile he's got on her face. And this little girl now is traumatized for the rest of her life. I'm telling you, as a counselor, an MS counselor, people can get better after rape, but they never get fixed. It is there forever in their marital relationship, in their personal self-esteem, in their interactions in the world. He ruined her life. Did she ruin his life? No. The smile on his face can be fixed. The girl's abuse allegations were turned over to the authorities in Kane County, the 6th District Court, for unlawful sexual conduct with a 16 or 17-year-old as a result of the investigation. Information on the status of the boy's case was not immediately available. Well, if he's 17, he's a minor. He's not going to serve adult time for that. Here's the Utah law. Why the hell doesn't a bishop know this? If he's in charge of 300 people from 0 to 92 years old, you think he'd sit his ass down and read the law and read what, well, I'm telling you too, the church handbook says call that attorney. And he has a church handbook. So do I. He didn't even follow the procedures of the Mormon church. Utah law requires anyone who has reason to believe that a child has been subjected to abuse or neglect, or who observes a child being subjected to conditions or circumstances which would reasonably result in abuse or neglect, to report that information immediately to the nearest law enforcement officer or to the State Division of Child and Family Services. Now, he didn't do that. Okay, now here's the Utah law. Good. I should have a bowl here so I can throw up when I report this stuff. It makes me sick to my stomach. No consideration for the little girl. Little consideration for the boy and his big smile on his face. The family members, this bishop should spend some time in jail. And the Mormon church should be sued for this. In the millions. Then they would train their people. They pick up the damn phone, and you've got the best law firm in Salt Lake City, and then say, report it, asshole. Nah, he doesn't want to make the call. God's going to tell him. Members of the clergy are exempt from reporting requirement only if they learn about abuse through a confession from the abuser, unless that person grants them consent to disclose the information. Well, I don't know if the Catholic Church wrote that in conjunction with the Utah Mormons. If someone comes into a counselor and says that they have committed a murder, that must be reported. You don't have protection to go into a counselor. You can't go into a counselor and say, oh, I raped my 3-year-old daughter 900 times, and he's exempt, the counselor, from reporting it? No! But Utah law and the Mormon bishop, I guess, is following the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church, has been inundated with this crap. Unless the person grants them consent to disclose the information. It says, or if he was simply ignorant about his responsibility to report it. You know what? Here it is. All he had to do was call, and he knows that. It's in the handbook. And God, if he's 43 years old and has his own children, you'd think he'd have enough damn sense. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints provides training for its lay clergy on how to handle disclosures of abuse, said LDS Church spokesman Scott Trotter. It also maintains a hotline that clergy member can call for legal advice. Moon continues to serve as a LDS bishop and vice president of the Duchesne County School Board of Education. He's scheduled for arraignment on February 23rd. So if it's a Mormon wearing garments and he's in the hot tub naked with a 15-year-old, he can be the head of the Utah Ethics Committee. And this clown, who's 43 years old, here's this child being abused and is terrorized. He doesn't give a shit if she's terrorized. He's just covering it up, just like the Catholic bishops and priests. This is not only insanity, it makes me sick. It makes me sick that these, especially men, men pull this crap a lot more than women do. A woman would call immediately and go, hey, Sarah's been raped or molested. So let me just summarize that the Mormon Church is more vicious than the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has come clean. The Pope has talked with people that have been abused, and there's been many, many lawsuits, and the Catholic Church has paid out damages to people's lives who have been ruined. They've fired priests, and they've fired people who put those priests in and then transferred them from parish to parish. What has the Mormon Church done, folks? The great and abominable church, the Catholics, according to Mormon doctrine, they're trying to clean up. They're trying to fix. They're trying to protect human beings. The Mormon Church seems more interested in covering things under the carpet and defending and letting him continue as bishop when he has these kinds of charges against him. Would you send your kid now in to that bishop for an interview? If you're a Mormon, you have to. That's the doctrine. Those are the rules. Those are the policies. He's still the bishop. Will he be the bishop when he's at Point of the Mountain in the federal prison? If he's Mormon and he's wearing his garments, probably. Thanks.